Welcome to another episode of Five Lemons Laughing. I'm Amanda. I'm here with Morgan and Penny. Melissa and Drusilla are off doing life. So we're sending them love, surrounding them in peace and prosperity, and we're doing the same for you. So today, we're coming out of the spiritual closet. So many of us have spent years editing ourselves to fit in, softening our spiritual beliefs, toning down our intuition, really hiding the parts of us that feel the most mystical, playful, or, unconventional. But there's something deeply magnetic about a person who is no longer burdened by the fear of being judged. When we show up authentically, people may not always understand us, but they can feel that peace, that joy, that freedom that comes from someone who is fully at home in themselves and in their body.
Mm-hmm. So true. So true. Yeah. So it brings up the question, what if the very thing that you've been self-conscious about or been hiding about yourself is actually the very thing that, when you embody it, gives other people permission to be themselves, their most authentic selves? And that's kind of what we're suggesting today and what we're talking about, that when one person in the room shows up fully, authentically, weirdly, warts and all, that in and of itself creates that sense of safety that allows other people to let their guards down. And it just feels like a collective exhale. And it's so refreshing. We've all been in that experience where someone just kind of broke the tension in the room just by being their weird, cool, authentic selves. And so that your willingness to be seen, to be really fully seen without your protections and defenses and guardrails, that is the invitation to allow other people's to set down their masks and stop performing and really get in touch with who they are. And it's such a beautiful, powerful place to be, way to show up. So let's dig into that a little bit today. So I'm going to start us off with a question. I'll direct it to you, Penny, put you on this.
Thank you, Morgan.
So, can you think of a part of yourself or an aspect of yourself that you have felt the need to hide in order to be accepted in the past or presently?
Wow, that's a really good question, Morgan. Thank you. This is actually a pretty deep topic if we really reflect on it, because so I felt like a lot of time when I started studying A Course in Miracles and wanting to be, diving a little deeper into what all this spirituality stuff was, because I'd had such an experience in organized religion that didn't feel right. I felt like I kind of had to hide it, and I kind of had to. I remember one time, oh my gosh, I was at a family event, and I said something like, we were talking, I don't know, it was something around hell and heaven. And I said, well, we're in heaven right now. We don't have to die to go to heaven. And I was just, that's not true. What are you talking about? And so it just slammed me shut. Like I shut the door, boom, on anything else that I was going to share about A Course in Miracles, or not even, I knew I couldn't even say something like A Course in Miracles, but I just knew that I couldn't share anymore about, or that was a false belief that I had, but I felt like I couldn't share anymore because I might be just shut down again. I was just slammed to the floor, not literally, but figuratively. Right. I was just shut down. And so I really felt like I had to hide it. And it took me a while to figure out how I could weave it into my life without it being a little woo, you know? And so I don't know if that
That's a
feels,
perfect example.
yeah.
And I think it's definitely relatable for me. I'm probably for Amanda too, because we all came up in that. Christian church religion background. So that's a perfect example. And what would it feel like, or has it felt like, to begin to allow that part of yourself to be seen?
So what I'm learning, and this is, I'm studying with the Course in Miracles lessons this year, and I'm following Regina Dawn Akers and her work with gentle healing, gentle awakening. And I am really getting it deeply. I'm sorry, I got distracted. There's a goat. Our neighbor's goat, a little baby goat, is just like, you can't hear it, but it's just really beating really loud, or whatever they say. I got totally distracted by that. Anyway, Regina, it's really about, can you ask the question again? I'm sorry, Morgan.
Yeah, no, you're good. So just what would it feel like, or what has it felt like to start to allow that aspect of yourself to be seen?
Yeah. So what I'm learning from the work that I'm doing on gentle healing, gentle awakening is that I don't need to really share it with the world.
Mm-hmm.
I can just be the joy, be the happiness, be the love. And because that's, I mean, from A Course in Miracles, that's our whole plan, is to just be happy. The lesson today that I'm studying is 100, and it's my part in God's plan for salvation is essential. And it's really just to be happy and be filled with joy and love. And so that's what I'm working on, is just choosing that day in and day out. And as I enter a room, I believe my energy will be different and people will just feel it. And I don't need to say anything. And so that's kind of where I'm at.
I love that, Penny. And first of all, who wouldn't be distracted by a baby goat, right? How could you not?
So true.
Yeah, that's so true. And I love what you're saying. Like, just being it is enough.
Mhm.
I remember when I, like, part of, when I was younger, like, in Christian tradition, like, you have to go out and stand on a street corner and preach, right? Like, you have to go out and witness. That's the word. You have to do that.
Well, witness in the way that they prescribe it, because Penny's witnessing too.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Mhm.
And I remember, years ago, it was reading in the course or something came up about not doing that. Like, that's not what is expected of you. That's not the way to go. Just by being it is enough, is the way. So you don't have to. And I was like, I just felt like a whole weight was off my shoulder. I did not have to go into the world and embrace or preach or do, and to get other people to join. Like, that wasn't what I had to do. It gave me permission just to sit, be still, like, focus on my own little world and allow it to expand out from there. So I'm glad you said that, Penny.
Yeah, it's like focusing on those thoughts that aren't true to begin with. And Jennifer Hadley, one of the women that we've all worked with, she talks about catching and releasing those thoughts that don't serve us. And that's what I'm really working on this year, is just catching it, all those thoughts when they come up, and say, that's not true. I am love. I am peace. I am joy. I am happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blow them up.
Yeah, because what you're describing also is authenticity. Because does it feel authentic to be out on the street corner proselytizing? Does that feel authentic and aligned and in integrity with your soul and with who you are? But then if
Not
you're
for
just,
me, right?
yeah,
Not for me
For
either.
some people, I can see that it does,
Yeah.
but yeah. But then when you're just being it, like you described, Penny, just being in joy and in peace and letting it radiate out from you, that is what we talked about at the beginning of the episode. That's like that moment in When Harry Met Sally, when it's like, I want what she's having. You know what I mean? Like, so you just being it, just living it, is your witness, and it is you showing up authentically.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you one more question and then we can.
Oh, I was going to throw it to you guys, but go ahead, Morgan.
Well, the only question I'd like to ask, and you might have already kind of touched on it, but can you share anything with the audience that helped you bridge that gap or get to this place of being willing to show up authentically?
Well, I'm a pretty open book. I think I pretty much show up authentically. Mostly, well, okay, people pleasing can come into play every now and then, where I think I have to be something that I'm not to be accepted. And it's a process for me. I say that in every episode. This is a process for me. I just can't just snap my fingers and have it happen. So I think what I know for sure is that when I begin my day with connecting to my higher power, doing prayer and meditation, I do some pranayama, some other exercises, read my course lesson. I think that's what helps me to be able to, show up and suit up and show up, or what is that saying? Something like that. So I'm like getting myself ready for the day before I actually go out into it. Yeah, I think that's what's coming to me, Morgan. I'm not sure if that's answering your question, but I think that's just keeping a consistent spiritual practice, or it doesn't have to be called spiritual. It can be just a morning routine that gets me connected to the source of the universe versus starting to doom scroll or read emails or whatever that is. That's what helps me. Mm-hmm. And I can tell when I don't do it. Like, I haven't done my pranayama yet this morning, and so I hope I'm making sense on this podcast. But I will get to it after we're done recording. So that's what works for me. How about you all? What's been going on with you around being authentically showing up in the world?
I think my main thing now is like my positive outlook on life, right? Like, I definitely keep that down when I'm out in public. And I've noticed that my judgments of other people's opinions are keeping that joy hidden. Mm. So that's what is the main thing that, like, now that I do, that I hide. And I don't know if it's from, like, I don't want to be preachy, or I just don't feel like having a discussion around it. Like, I just, I just don't think the world is going to hell in a handbasket right now. I think, like, this is a very exciting, joyful time to be alive. And people don't necessarily want to hear that, or that's my judgment of it. So when conversations turn negative, I just don't I just keep silent. And, it feels a little uncomfortable to sit there because I don't want to, some aspect of it feels kind of like I'm witnessing gossip, right? Like, I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to I don't want to lend an ear to it. Like, I don't want to participate in it. And, like, so I hide that. I just don't know what to do with that yet.
Yeah, that's fair. And I was going to ask, does it feel like being inauthentic or being out of integrity with your soul, or does it feel just like discernment? Like, this is not the time and place to share this. But then I think you kind of answered that question towards the end when you said that it feels a little prickly.
Yeah, it feels prickly. It's in one of those states where I just don't know what to do with it yet. Mm-hmm. Just like when I actually stopped, for the most part, Penny, like, for the most part, even lending an ear to gossip, right? Like, it took a while to navigate that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
That's so interesting. Like, when somebody starts gossiping, Amanda, I'm curious, because you don't want to be part of it. You said you kind of just sit there, but what if you're the only other person in the conversation? What do you do?
Oh, I just, I'm not a big confronter, right? That's not my personality. I will pivot the conversation. I'm really good at that, right? Like just start talking about something else, or oh, excuse me, and I'll leave, right? Like, I haven't gotten to the place of like of just saying, or it doesn't feel right to be now. So what can we do for this person? Do you want to do
Mhm.
something, or you just want to talk about it? Like, so I haven't taken that step.
Ooh.
It doesn't feel, because I've heard people, I haven't been in a situation where somebody has pivoted towards like, you're going to talk about it, or you're going to take action. Do you just want to be part of the problem, or
Mhm.
you want to be the solution? I've heard that as a tool, as a way to do it, but I haven't seen it in action, and I haven't done that yet. I just
Mm.
pivot or leave the conversation altogether.
Yeah.
So I'm still working through that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that sounds loving too, because,
Mhm.
you want to be super clear that you're being used by spirit and not being used, as a voice for judgment to make the
Mm.
other person feel wrong and bad. And that can feel tricky to navigate. So I respect that you're just letting yourself be where you are and
Mm.
trusting that, the loving way to navigate that will be revealed. It reminds me of in the past, like when I would be in conversation with someone. I'm thinking of a particular instance, a random neighbor walking past my driveway and stopping to chat. I had no idea who this person was. And I don't remember exactly what she said, but there were definitely some like undercurrents of racism.
Mhm.
And it was undercurrents, not blatant, but I felt energetically what was happening. And it goes back to that complicity. I didn't want my not saying anything to be taken as agreement, but
Mhm.
I just did not know how to navigate that situation.
Mhm.
And um, so, yeah, there's so much tangled up in this, because how do
Mhm.
you show up authentically in those types of situations? And yeah, interesting stuff. Because, you know, isn't it loving to maybe call people out?
Exactly. Yeah. Like that's what maybe that's why I don't go out in public very much, because I'm feeling like the next step in this evolution is lovingly like stating, well, I just don't believe that. I don't see it that way. That's not my
Mhm.
personal experience.
Mhm.
Um,
And then they'll say, "Well, what is your personal experience and what do you think?" And sometimes I'm not like prepared to share. Like I don't, maybe I haven't quite
yeah.
figured it all out. And so
Or
I don't
maybe
know if
you're
that's true
not
for you.
trusting that
Yeah.
spirit will come up with
Yeah.
the perfect words through you.
That's more than likely
I mean,
the bottom
I am
line.
only
Yeah.
saying that because that's my
Yeah.
experience
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
I don't remember exactly the circumstance, so I can't tell the exact story, but I do remember saying in some instant, like, I look at my life and I see evidence of it, right? Like, so if I were
Mhm.
just to take inventory of my life, there's evidence of love, of support, of caring. The community is that, right? So if I go from zooming out to the whole globe to zooming into my community, like, so I have
Mhm.
been able to say, well, if I look around in my life, right, there's evidence of it. So that is one thing I have said. So let me give myself a little credit for for taking a step, right? Because isn't that part of spiritual growth, is being able to see how far we've come, and,
Yes.
mhm, and not just automatically just being demure, not automatically like, putting myself down or doubting myself in that type of situation.
Yeah. And just so interesting how much territory this topic covers. Because,
Oh, wow.
I definitely was thinking of it through the lens of the example that Penny brought forth. But
Yeah.
then what you brought forth, Amanda, opens up a whole other can of worms about what it means to show up authentically, and then how that ripples out and affects other people.
Hmm.
Yeah. So interesting.
I really like what you said, Amanda, about you looking for evidence for the abundance, the love, the joy, the happiness in the world versus focusing on what's not going well. That
Right.
really is powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really, I think that for me, that is the core of it.
Mm-hmm.
In other groups, we've been talking about gene keys, human design. We've been, really focusing on what we've came to the planet to do. And that keeps coming up, right? Like my path is living the example of.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. And sharing
Incredible.
it and using my voice and sharing it. We did gene keys just yesterday. Yeah, Monday,
I
Tuesday,
saw that.
yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to do it.
it's so interesting. And part of my, I don't even know, roadmap to life, what we came for. I don't even know how to just say the words,
Life
but like
purpose, life
life's
path.
purpose. Yeah. The blueprint of why that I'm here.
Your
It's so funny.
destiny.
Yeah. In the gene keys, it specifically said, like, you're not even, like, don't even worry about it till you're 50 because you just, be present. Like, I'm at over 50 right now, but it was so interesting. Like, if I would have read, seen that when I was 30, like it would have different. But I'm like, you're right. Like I did have to have all of this life experience to be in this place, to be comfortable enough to speak the words of love,
Mm-hmm.
to speak the words of acceptance, and to live that way. So
Mm-hmm.
so interesting. Like it, I don't have to get it all right at this present second to get it done. Life
Yeah.
experience is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my story too.
Yeah.
And fun to kind of look at it and see that you've been living your life purpose, even without, having read it through the lens of the Jinkies before. It's like we can't help but be living out
Mhm.
our human design or our gene keys or our astrological birth chart. We might be living the shadow or we might be living the, whatever the positive aspect is, but we are living it. Those are just tools for understanding it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Little side quest here,
Mm-hmm.
but relevant. Yeah.
So, how about you, Morgan? So,
Well,
other than the time when you were approached by the neighbor.
yeah. Well, I can see, I have the same exact experience of you, Penny, about, sheltering my spiritual life because it was so different from my family and close loved ones, and just keeping that separate, even though it was the biggest part of my life. It was my greatest passion, what I spent the majority of my time, energy, and attention focused on. And I kept it separate from family and the loved ones, and even from John Mark to a degree, just because it didn't feel accepted. And I know that he was reflecting my own inner fears to me. I felt like I wasn't going to be accepted. And so then it was outwardly pictured in that relationship. And it's interesting to see how that has shifted over the years. Because I first came to A Course in Miracles in 2016, and probably like 2 or 3 years prior to that, kind of had my break with the church, my new revelation that, God is love, and anything that doesn't match up with that doesn't fit into my what I know to be true any longer. And that's kind of when things started to crumble, and I had kind of that dark night of the soul, and then that made way for things like A Course in Miracles and other you know, non-dual, new thought, spiritual principles to come in. Um, so we're talking how many years ago? We're talking over the past 10 to 13 years of my life. And now in my relationship with John Mark, it's so fun to reflect back because, you see how much farther you've come when you pause to actually look back to where you started. And it's just exciting to see, like, I am so authentically myself in my relationship with John Mark and even with my family, more so, not quite to the same degree as with my husband, but I make no bones about it now. And he loves and accepts that aspect of himself because I love and accept that aspect of myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure when, where, or how that shifted, other than to say it's been a process. But it's exciting. It's exciting that I can just be my fully spiritually out there person in my closest relationship, and that it is now celebrated instead of, rejected.
So, Morgan, what else has changed, either in your relationship with John Mark or just your little community, your world has changed since you've stopped editing yourself?
I don't know. Maybe can you ask that question another way? Because I'm not sure how to answer that specifically. I don't think I understand. What else has changed in relation to
just your life? Like what has happened in your life since you've really come out of the spiritual closet? So like,
okay.
I know like around Easter, you've just
Yeah.
started within the last, I'd say 2 months, you've really posted your beliefs online. So what has changed? Do you have do you see any reactions from others?
Right. I think that, I mean, honestly, it started probably with us doing this podcast. I mean, we all had some fears about even doing this podcast.
Oh my God, you're right. And how long have we been doing it? 3 years?
This is our 4th year. We're in our 4th year.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And so it's a practice. We just do it. We just show up every week. And it's been a gentle practice because we have like, what, 30 listeners a week?
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about like millions
gentle
of
healing, gentle awakening.
Gentle healing, gentle awakening. Yeah. So we get to kind of like, we get to put on our training panties first.
Yeah. Our pull-ups.
And so that has really helped me. Like, I'm using my voice here with you every single week. And that, I mean, like, that has, I think that has been hugely impactful. And I just have a commitment I'm inspired by, I've had aspirational goals to be the person who doesn't give an F about what other people think about them while still caring about other people. It's 2 different things. Like, I have a strong desire to not care what people think about me, but to be very compassionate and caring about other people. And because I've held that as an aspiration, it's been gently and naturally unfolding. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what has changed is I am more willing to share things on social media, for example, about kind of, excuse me, this is going to sound judgmental, but about kind of the absurdity of the Christian religion and about kind of the absolute truth and clarity and logic of this non-dual path. And I share from a sense of groundedness and connectedness, not to provoke fear or to change anybody, but also it's like a love offering, if you will, because I encountered people along my path going as far back as like my teens, 16, 17. I remember hanging out at a cool little coffee shop with my cool little church friends. We were like the alternative weirdos. And I showed up in there with my Bible, and some kid outside like just completely engaged me in a conversation and was talking about, that Noah's Ark story was totally borrowed from another story that existed hundreds of years before the Bible was even written. And like, he just like went on and on and on and told me all these things. And I was just sitting there paralyzed and like your fear, Penny, of not knowing what to say when that was like happening to me. I was just like, and it shook me and it planted a seed. And I remained a devout, like loving Christian, fully immersed in Christianity still for another 10 years, 15 years or so after that conversation. But it was an open door, it was a seed being planted. So, if I can be that seed planter for even one person, then it's worth me using my voice for that. And if it rubs some people the wrong way and, upset some people along the way, that's their journey. That's for them to work through. It's, and I can trust that that's helpful too. I mean, do you think that I was not rubbed the wrong way by that conversation at that coffee shop? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I can just see what you did next. You went in and said, can you believe this guy had said?
I don't even remember. I do remember that conversation and that feeling, but I don't remember what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm just putting words in your mouth.
Yeah. And like, yeah. I saw a video on Instagram just, this past week from Aaron Abke, who is a Course in Miracles and spiritual speaker, teacher, whatever. And he was talking about how most people choose their religion and they take whatever the spiritual text says and they stuff God into that box. They make God fit the narrative. When the correct way, if we want to use like a judgmental word, correct, incorrect, a dualistic word, the more authentic way to do it would be to discern what are the characteristics of God and make your beliefs fit the image of God that feels true for you, not the other way around.
That's mind-blowing.
But most people do it the other way.
Right, exactly.
The way.
Yeah, when I first got into 12-step recovery, there's a lot of God in 12-step recovery. And, I didn't have that great of experience with God at that point. And I loved step 2. You get to choose who your God is, and you get to design your own God and whatever that is for you. So it's really, you get to search and determine, okay, who is my God? Who is my source? Who do I want to, what it, or not who, but it's like, what is it for me? And that was really a powerful process because, I'd always thought that God was damning and you go to hell if you don't do everything that you're supposed to do. But I found out that my God's really loving and caring and compassionate, wants the best for me. And so that's what I choose to follow. So I love that what you were saying, Morgan, about, so often we're just like, the 4 agreements were just domesticated into what somebody else has said or done. And we just follow it like goats and sheep, right?
Right. Well, and like, I am blessed with an open head and an open heart in human design. So it's very easy for me to change my mind when presented with new information. And it can be difficult for other people because their identity is so heavily tied to what they believe. So I have compassion for people who have a more difficult time receiving new information that contradicts everything they've ever known or ever believed. And I strongly wish for people to find their power and know their true nature. And a lot of that starts with learning to question every single thing you've ever been taught, you've ever believed, every single thought you've ever thought, all of it. And so, that's me showing up authentically, is to be a little bit provocative, but from a loving place and with a loving intention.
I love that for you, Morgan. Yeah. I'm glad that you're like on my team, right? Because it takes balance, right? Like, so that doesn't, showing up to be provocative feels a little prickly for me, but, showing up love as love doesn't. Like, I'm like, I can do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We all have our place. We all have our purpose, and it's all so perfectly balanced and woven together.
And I think that's, like the whole, like, so what does showing up authentically not only do for us, but for others? So it's a responsibility. It's a sacred chore to like cultivate like what it is that we're here to do, each of us, and to not hide that. Right. So I'm so glad that you brought up, Morgan, like start doing this podcast, right? Because first of all, it was uncomfortable, like deciding what to do it. Like, am I going to share this? Like, I remember the few times sharing it, when I first started sharing the episodes on Facebook, I was like, right? Like, it was nerve wracking.
Yeah.
But I have seen all of us transform over the last 3.5 years. And it is easier. It is easier being authentic with people that are the same.
It is. That is true. I can be really authentic with you all.
Yeah.
And it's not quite as easy sometimes when I'm out in the wild practicing.
Yeah. I think that goes back to that word discernment, because sometimes it might be fear blocking you, and sometimes it might be love blocking you. Like maybe it's saying, not right now. This is not the place. This is not the time.
Yeah, we have to trust our intuition, what our guidance is giving us. Absolutely. I agree with that.
Compassion for ourselves when we, are guided to say something and we don't, or are guided to do something and we don't, or vice versa.
Yeah. Just takes practice.
It's all practice.
And baby step practice too. I mean, we don't have to go out and shit on people, right? Excuse me, but we don't have to do that. Yeah. Yeah. Gentleness, kindness, and compassion is key.
Well, I know we're getting close to the end of our time, but I'm just curious if anybody has an example of a time that they were around someone who was being so authentically themselves that it like impacted you in a like positive way.
Okay, so at the farmer's market every week, well, the last 2 weeks that I've went, there's a woman, and I'm so inspired by her and judging her at the same time, I'll have to tell you. But she's dressed in a way that I normally wouldn't dress. Like she's got this flowery hat. I mean, it's not a normal flowery hat, but it's a hat with flowers in it. And she's got, bobby socks on and different shoes and a dress. And she just looks different, okay, than what I normally see at the farmer's market. And I'm like, and her partner, husband, I don't know what it is. And they have a kid too. So I don't know. I don't know the relationship. I know nothing about this woman, but she's inspiring because she is stepping out into the farmer's market dressed the way she wants to dress. And it doesn't seem like she gives a shit about what anybody thinks about how she's dressing at the farmer's market. And I just think that's so inspiring. And I'm not quite there. And so I just think that's so, I mean, not that I really want to dress the way she does, but when I notice people that are dressed, okay, not the normal way, I'm going to just judge that. It's just really inspiring to me that they feel comfortable enough to step out into the world in taking contrary action to what everybody else is doing. That's like, and it's beautiful what she wears. It's just not what I would wear. I don't know if that's a good example, but that's what I have.
It is. When people, dress as a artistic expression of them, they wear their personality in their clothes kind of, and are not afraid of, what other people are going to think about them.
Yeah.
That's a great example. I also love when people like do goofy things in public and don't care about what other people think. They just bust out into song or dance or, whatever.
One of my favorite, I follow this really tall, beautiful ballet dancer. And it's a dude. And he wears a tutu and does stuff. And I love him, right? He's just a beautiful man wearing a tutu and point toe slippers, right? On point, and just all around the world, he does stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. That's freedom, right?
Yeah.
That's not my calling, right? But that is his calling. That's freedom. I fill my feed with people doing their thing.
Ah.
That's awesome.
I snooze a lot of people, right? Because I don't want their stuff in my feed. And I follow a lot of, people living outside of the normal box.
Yeah. I have recently been sitting with the idea of challenging myself to do something unexpected in
Ooh.
public. And I have forgotten, and I haven't been doing it consistently, but it is an aspiration just to randomly bust out skipping across the street, or to splash in a puddle, or to yodel out loud, or to howl like a wolf or something, just to practice not caring what other people think. And I think
that's
I
good.
would like to challenge each of us to do something unexpected today.
Something playful, right? Something playful and fun that makes you laugh.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'll accept that challenge, Morgan.
I will too.
Yeah. And maybe all of you out in the audience, you can go out and do something unexpected as well. That's awesome.
Report back.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. We love to hear from our listeners. Absolutely love to. Well, with all of that, dear ladies, dear lemonettes, I think it's time to wrap this episode up. And I just have I have more than a couple, but I mean, we started out with just being it, the peace, the joy, the love, the happiness is enough. We really don't have to do anything else. I mean, one of the things about A Course in Miracles is you need do nothing to prove yourself, right? Boy, excuse me. And trust that the loving way to navigate whatever situation you're in will be revealed. We need do nothing. If we just have trust and faith, and loving and accepting ourselves is the key. I heard that pretty loud and clear from you, Morgan. And I also loved, okay, I'm going to share this one too. Just look for the evidence of abundance, joy, happiness. Couldn't spell abundance there at first. Anyway, there's just so much, there's so many ways to come out of the spiritual closet. I mean, we talked about a few of the ways, and it doesn't have to be a big dramatic announcement or big reveal. It could be something just gently as getting up and leaving the table and going to the bathroom if somebody is not in alignment with what you are saying you're up to. So the thing is just to be gentle and compassionate and kind with yourself as you work to reveal your authentic self if that's what makes you comfortable. But we also need to take those unexpected things, actions that get us out of our comfort zone, because until we do practice this, life is action, and we need to I feel that it's important to take action and practice the things that I'm learning. And so I suggest it to all: practice and then laugh at yourself if it doesn't go so well. And, take a look at what worked, what didn't work, and then just make a new plan and go again. That's always my philosophy. Yeah. So wherever you're at in your journey is exactly where you're supposed to be. And so with that, just keep coming back, keep listening in, keep practicing, and keep trusting. Trust and faith is the key. And just know that your transformation is our greatest joy. So we look forward to hearing from you, and send us your ideas for episodes. We would love to unpack whatever it is that you are going through as well. So with that, keep coming back. We love you, and have a really beautiful, beautiful rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.